This message comes from Hulu. From visionary filmmaker Taika Waititi and author Charles Yu, the Hulu original series Interior Chinatown tells the story of an ordinary waiter swept up in a criminal investigation. All episodes are now streaming on Hulu.
Hey, we got an email from Allie. Allie says they would like to nominate our episode Fiddlin, Gruntin, Snorin, and Carlin to be played in this feed. Allie, without further ado, here it is. It's been slightly Thanksgiving-ified for you.
A couple weeks ago in Caryville, Florida, they had the annual Worm Fiddlin Festival.
Now, if you weren't there, you probably don't have any idea what worm fiddlin is.
Neither of us do.
But we are curious. We love worms, and we love fiddlin', and putting them together is probably spectacular.
On the line with us now is Timothy Haynes. He's the chairman of the festival. So, Timothy, what is worm fiddling?
It's a method of extracting worms out of the ground. A lot of people go out and fiddle worms for bait, to go fishing with, and it's quite a profitable industry. We have people that go out and just fiddling, snoring, grunting worms. They're all the same thing. And you can make around $45,000 a year.
Really?
Off of snoring worms. I mean, it is quite profitable.
And so how does it work?
Well, you take a seasoned piece of wood and drive it down in the ground, and then you take either your axe head that you drove it down in the ground with and rub it across the top of it, causing a vibration. The vibration goes into the ground, and the worm thinks it's a mole coming after it, and it goes up to the top of the surface, and then you collect the worms.
So it feels the shaking in the ground and thinks that there's a predator coming.
Yes, sir.
So what makes for a good hour of worm snoring? How many would you get?
We had in 15 minutes, we had people collect 82 worms.
No.
40, and that's just in 15 minutes. I had a 6-year-old that was doing it, and she done it by herself. She collected 6 worms in 15 minutes. And, for a 6-year-old, that's pretty good.
Wait a minute. So you can put kids to work then pretty young.
Exactly.
I just think about what it must look like when you have 82 worms coming out of the ground.
Saying that's quite a few, but now you talk about some people, when they snore them up, there's thousands come up,
Wow.
And for somebody to go out and gather in 5 hours one morning 30,000 worms is not difficult,
Dang.
It's probably, like I say, 5 hours worth of work. And you gather 20 or 30,000 worms, and then you make your money off them.
What's the biggest worm that you guys have ever got out of the ground?
Probably 8-9 inches long.
And then, do you know what kind of fish it caught?
No, sir.
Yeah.
No. We actually turn them loose after the birds go to sleep at night.
No, really?
Yeah, we actually turn those worms back loose that we snore up out of the ground, and somebody else can come along and use them for bait. But we're not. We try to be mindful of our earth and put everything back like it's supposed to be.
You said you wait till the birds have gone down for the night. Do you do that because you learned your lesson?
No, it's pretty much traditional. I guess it started way back when. They knew that the birds would wind up eating the worms if you didn't wait until they went to sleep. But it's always said to put your worms back in the ground when the chickens go to roost. That's our terminology down here.
Well, Timothy, thank you so much for telling us about worm fiddling.
All right, thank you.
This is How to Do Everything. I'm Ian.
And I'm Mike. On today's show, political strategist David Axelrod helps you with Thanksgiving. But first...
Hi, Carl. What can we help you with?
Well, I have a bit of a problem where people almost remember my name, and I am in college right now, and I started a new semester, and people are not remembering my name, but they're almost remember my name. So people have been calling me Kyle and Connor and Kurt and Kirk, etc. So,
But your name it's Carl.
yes, Karl.
Okay. So give us an example of a kind of sample interaction where you realize somebody has remembered your name almost right, but not right.
The other day, I was telling my friend in one of my classes about this, and she didn't believe me. And then my teacher got up, and I brought a CD to listen to while we work, and he said, "Keith has brought us a CD today so that we can listen to while we're working." And then in my senior year of high school, a girl called me Cole for 6 months, even though I corrected her many times. So until one day somebody referred to me as Carl, and she goes, "But your name's Cole." And I go, "No, it's Carl. I've been telling you this for 6 months."
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
When you introduce yourself to people, how does that work? What do you say?
I just say my name is Carl. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something I found that works sometimes is that I introduce myself as my name's Carl, like Karl Marx, and that makes it stick a little bit more sometimes.
Yeah. I wonder if people just stop paying attention that fast. If we have such short attention spans.
That is a very short attention span. We can't make it through one syllable.
It is. It's just one syllable. You're right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the thing, is to think about how short our attention spans are, and rather than saying, "Hi, my name's Carl," say, "Carl, that's my name." So the first thing they hear
Yeah.
is Carl.
Yeah.
Do it in a kind of a little sing-song, too.
Yeah.
Carl, that's my name.
Oh, that's
I'm sure no one would forget it after that.
yeah.
Well, Carl, we're gonna try and help you out here.
Great.
Okay, Christopher, we have an idea. Our producer, Candace, has tracked somebody down who might be able to help you.
He is online with us now. So, Michael, can you just introduce yourself for us?
Hi, I'm Michael A. Levine, and I am a composer. I've written music for film, television, pieces that have been performed at Lincoln Center and theater and this and that, but probably my best-known contribution to Western culture is writing the music for the Kit Kat Gimme a Break jingle with lyrics by Ken Schuldman.
We should just jump in here. If you're not familiar, this is the Kit Kat theme we're talking about.
Give me a break, give me a break, break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Give me a break.
All right, so we're trying to help out Carl, who, for some reason, whenever he introduces himself, nobody remembers his name. They call him Connor, Kirk, Cassidy. So I think we could do, I think it would maybe help Carl, it would help people remember his name if we could come up with a jingle with which he could introduce himself.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because Candace did email me that. And, of course, within approximately 5 minutes, I had composed the following. Carl, not Kyle, Connor, or Kurt, or Cole, or Cassidy. Carl is the one and only name that's mine. You can shove all the others where the sun don't shine and say Carl, 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 Carl. That's right.
That's fantastic. And it's so catchy.
I hope so.
It's repetitive.
Now are you going to remember Carl?
So, Michael, let's imagine now. Let's do a situation where you're Carl and you're going to introduce yourself to the two of us. Let's try this out. How would that go?
Well, you'd say something like, see, my name is Carl, and everybody gets it confused with other names. It goes something like, well, here, let's strike up the band. My name's Carl, and so forth. And he sings the whole song, and if they're still standing there and have not by then had him arrested or anything, they probably will remember his name.
He will leave an impression. Definitely.
It's true.
Is there like a rule, something you think about when you're given the task of making something catchy? Is there what's step one?
Well, I don't know if there is a single rule, But one of the most cardinal rules of writing jingles is if it takes you more than, say, 5 minutes to write it, you're probably doing something wrong.
Ah, okay.
And so the Kit Kat Give Me a Break jingle, the lyrics were written by Ken, and he gave me, actually, essentially War and Peace. He gave me several pages of possible lyrics, and I picked out, give me a break, break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar from different parts of the page. And I got in the elevator at Doyle Dane Bernbach, which was on the 3rd floor, and by the time I got off the elevator, on the 1st floor, the song was written. It is a fairly slow elevator, but nonetheless, it wasn't. It was probably a faster than real time process.
Do you remember any of the other suggested lyrics?
No, I don't. It's been a long time, and I do remember the original bridge was, you could keep it to yourself, but that wouldn't be fair because that chocolate crispy taste is loved everywhere. Now, the client objected to this because they thought they could sell a lot more Kit Kats if everybody had their own, thus ignoring the main appeal of Kit Kats, which is that you break it off and you share it with somebody. And that frisson between what the product actually is and what the client would like it to be has continued to this day. You'll never see people sharing them in the commercials. They're always, everyone has, lives in their own private Kit Kat world. It's fairly typical of advertising clients that they don't actually understand their own product.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for helping out Carl, and hopefully this jingle works.
Well, I hope so. I'll tell you what, I can send you a slightly better audio quality because I'm sure that recording it over the phone probably lacks a little perfection.
Carl. Not Kyle, Connor, or Kurt, or Cole, or Cassidy. Carl is the one and only name that's mine. You can shove all the others where the sun don't shine and say Carl, 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 Carl. That's right!
This message comes from our sponsor, Grainger. This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. This message comes from Bluehost. Got great ideas but no idea how to build a website? Get Bluehost. Their AI builds your WordPress site in minutes, and their built-in tools optimize your growth. Don't wait. Visit Bluehost.com now.
This message comes from Wise, the app for doing things in other currencies. Send, spend, or receive money internationally, and always get the real-time mid-market exchange rate with no hidden fees. Download the Wise app today or visit wise.com. T's and C's apply.
Hey, if you have a question you'd like us to answer, send us an email. Send it to us at howto@npr.org.
And if your question is, how do I get the Carl jingle out of my head?
Carl.
Just go back a few episodes to our episode called Josh Gad Defeats Earworms, which will solve the problem which we have just created for you.
Or if you don't want to do that, just chew gum. That's what we tell you to do in the episode. That's basically the gist of that episode is chew gum to get rid of an earworm.
Or maybe don't spoil the episodes because we need the download numbers or we're going to get canceled.
That's fair. That's fair. Once again, that email is howto@npr.org.
Thanksgiving is next week, and we got a bunch of questions from you about it. A lot of these questions are about how to handle the holiday if you hate your family.
We're going to go through some of those questions with David Axelrod. He was an advisor to President Barack Obama. He has a lot of experience dealing with people who hate each other.
David, is this something you can handle?
Yeah, actually, I've found dealing with politicians easier than dealing with Thanksgiving dinner with the family,
Well, so okay, as a strategy guy, as an advisor to politicians, what do you tell them? Like, how do you tell them to deal with questions that they really don't want to answer?
Well, first of all, you want to steer the conversation, right? In my family, you want to steer away from any reference to my wedding where they got into such a heated dispute that my mother left, and we weren't sure until 5 minutes before the ceremony whether she was going to actually attend. So rule number one, choose the topics carefully. Choose the innocuous topics that aren't going to set off the fireworks. Rule number two, pay special attention to the seating and keep the combatants far from each other.
Well, so okay, we want to put your skills to the test. Are you ready to do this?
Well, I'm frightened, but I'm willing to move forward.
We a lot of our listeners have written in with the awkward subjects likely to come up at their Thanksgiving dinners. And we want you to play the role of the Thanksgiving victim, somebody who's at the table, this comes up, and you need to somehow deflect it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so your first role, this is Brent, and he anticipates at his Thanksgiving, people are going to ask him, so, Brent, how long have you been single? What's going on there?
Well, I would say... well, tell me about you. How long have you been together? How did you guys get together? I'm really interested in that. And I'd turn the subject. But I want to also retain always, there's like an out card. And I don't know, it may be different in every city. Here in Chicago, when someone brings up something awkward, the out card is always, how about those bears?
Oh.
Okay.
And that creates a whole nother set of grievances.
What was so well done with what you did for Brent was you not only steered the conversation away, but you flattered the questioner.
Yes, which is a skill you learn in politics, right? You want to make people feel good about themselves. So turning the conversation back on them is often a good technique. I highly recommend that.
Okay, so here's another one. This is from Catherine, and it's not so much a question as it is a topic she anticipates coming up around the table due to the relative age of everybody there, and that's colonoscopies. And people either sharing stories or asking advice. So imagine you're Catherine, and people around the table start talking about colonoscopies.
I would say, you seem so interested in it. Can you go up on the turkey's up there? Why don't you demonstrate how it's done? And maybe that will stop the conversation. But it is, everybody stands around and watches the turkey get prepared, people stuffing things up the turkey's butt. So maybe it's only natural that colonoscopies, as we say, flow from that.
Okay, here's another one. And this is from Ellen. And it sounds like for her family gathering, a lot of people, maybe people they don't see very often. And Ellen anticipates that her cousin, who recently announced that he was a furry, meaning he wears usually like a mascot costume, say full animal costume, no part of his body exposed.
She says it's a wolf.
She anticipates that her furry cousin will be there, and things might get a little weird.
In his costume?
She says he may come out mid-meal in his wolf costume.
Well, first of all, I hope he comes out at the end of the meal in his wolf costume, because if his meals are anything like my meals, that wolf costume's going to have to go right to the cleaners. How does the cousin eat through does the wolf costume permit that?
That's
a good question.
Yeah. I mean, imagine you can probably get gravy through the mesh. But anything solid.
All the more reason that this might not be the right time to wear the costume.
But you know what? This is a situation where you really don't want to ask, how about them bears?
No, that could create all kinds of resentments and turmoil.
All right. David Axelrod, thanks so much.
Okay, good to see you.
Well, that does it for this week's show. What we learned today, Mike?
Well, I learned all about worm fiddlin.
Yeah.
Or Gruntin, Snorin.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe it'd be smarter just to do fish fiddlin? Because that's why you're doing it. You're trying to get the worms to go fishing.
Yeah.
We just got to find a way to fish fiddle.
It's really, you think about how much fish like to eat worms.
Yeah.
They've really made a poor choice living in water. Because it seems like in the earth, that's where fish could be really well fed. really live a gluttonous life if it could breathe. Hey, so our producer Nadia Wilson is she's left.
She has gone on to better things. And we don't say that as like a euphemism.
No,
it's
she's
actually true.
Yeah, she's working on a real show and everything. And we miss her. And she did a lot of good things here.
Yeah. Thanks for putting up with us for so long, Nadia.
Yeah.
But this show is produced by Candace.
Candace Mattel. Nadia's body is not even cold yet, and Candace is dancing on her grave producing this show.
Sorry, Nadia, you've been Candace fiddled.
Technical direction from Carl White.
Our intern this week is Cassidy.
Good job, Carl.
You can get us your questions, send them to us at howto@npr.org.
Our website is carltodoeverything.carl. I'm Carl.
And I'm Ian.
Carl.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Shopify, the global commerce platform that helps you sell and show up exactly the way you want to. Customize your online store to your style. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/NPR.
This message comes from Lisa. Good sleep should come naturally, and with the new Natural Hybrid mattress, it can. A collaboration between Lisa and West Elm, the Natural Hybrid is expertly crafted from natural latex, wool, and certified safe foams to elevate your sleep sanctuary and support a greener tomorrow. Plus, every purchase helps fuel Lisa's work with shelters and those in need. Visit lisa.com to learn more. That's LEESA.com.